On a Monday morning in May 2021, Colonial pipeline employees showed up to work and found a ransom note on every computer. That's ransomware. And it doesn't just happen to pipelines. Let's get into it. I'm Steve Sciavolino, a retired FBI agent. I spent 22 years with the FBI, fieldwork in Norfolk and San Francisco, then headquarters, where I developed tools to help the FBI's most sensitive case collections in the Operational Technology Division, then ran investigations in Cyber Division. Today, I run IronGrid Cybersecurity. Let's talk about ransomware, because it's no longer just a headline. It's the most financially devastating cyber threat facing organizations today. $5 million. That's the average total cost of a ransomware incident, according to IBM's 2025 Cost of Data Breach Report. And that number isn't just the ransom. It includes incident response, legal fees, regulatory exposure, lost business, and the cost of trying to recover systems that, in many cases, were never fully restored. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how ransomware gets in, what it looks like when it hits, and most importantly, what actually stops it. Ransomware is malware, malicious software that does one thing extremely well. It locks you out of everything. Once it lands on a device, it begins encrypting your files, documents, databases, email. Everything on that machine is suddenly inaccessible. Then the note appears. Pay us and we'll give you the decryption key. Don't pay and everything stays locked or gets leaked publicly. And it doesn't just stay on that first computer or device. Backup drives, network shares, if it's connected to the network, it gets hit. We're talking minutes before it spreads across an entire company network. And here's the part that gets organizations in trouble. If you don't have a clean, tested backup that's isolated from the network, you have no good options. None. Let's talk about entry points, because understanding how ransomware gets in is the first step to keeping it out. Malicious attachments, zip files, exe files, Office docs with macros are designed to look routine. An invoice, a shipping notice, an HR update. But in this case, they're not, and they don't only arrive via phishing. Compromised file shares, USB drives, and downloads can deliver them too. RDP, or Remote Desktop Protocol, is a favorite target. If it's exposed to the internet without a VPN or MFA, attackers are scanning for it right now. Unpatched software is an open door. When a vulnerability drops, attackers have exploit code within days. I've seen this when I was in the FBI. I have seen attackers immediately follow Microsoft CVE releases and then on the dark web start discussing exploits for those CVEs. Patching fast is critical. Phishing emails remain the number one initial access vector in cybersecurity overall, and it's still a significant ransomware threat. A convincing email tricks you into clicking a link that silently downloads a ransomware installer. We covered phishing in depth in episode 1. And stolen credentials eliminate the phishing step entirely. Attackers buy your passwords on the dark web and log straight into your account. No clicking required. Let's look at how this actually plays out. From the attacker side, the target, a company IP address with port 3389 open directly to the internet. 3389 is the default port for Remote Desktop Protocol, a tool IT administrators use to manage servers and systems remotely. When it's exposed, automated scanning tools find it within hours. If there's no firewall blocking port 3389 and no VPN requiring authentication first, it's directly reachable from anywhere in the world. Once discovered, the attack is fully automated. No human attacker required at this stage. Automated tools try thousands of common passwords in minutes. In this example, 1,200 attempts, then one combination works. Logging in with admin and the password summer 2024. That's a real password pattern. 1 week credential, and the door is open. And with that one login, they're in. The attacker is now on the network as that user. From there, they look for ways to escalate privileges, move laterally to other systems, and deploy ransomware across the network. No phishing email, no employee clicked anything, just an exposed port and a weak password. So here's the direct advice. If your organization doesn't need RDP, disable it on your machines and block port 3389 at the firewall. If you do need it, put it behind a VPN and enforce MFA. Don't leave that door open. Now let's talk about a real-world example. The Colonial pipeline, May 2021. The largest fuel pipeline on the east coast of the United States, suddenly offline. Let's look at how it happened and what it cost. The group behind it? DarkSide, a Russian-linked ransomware as a service operation. They don't just attack targets themselves. They license their malware to affiliates, take a cut of the ransom, and run it like a business, a criminal franchise model. Colonial Pipeline paid $4.4 million in ransom within hours because they had no confidence they could restore operations fast enough on their own. The FBI later recovered $2.3 million of that, but that recovery is exceptional. Most organizations never see any of that money again. 17 states, gas stations from Florida to New Jersey ran dry. Panic buying, long lines, people filling plastic bags with gasoline. One IT system goes down, and within days, it becomes a public safety crisis. 6 days, the White House declares a national emergency, a piece of critical American infrastructure offline for nearly a week because of one compromised password and no multi-factor authentication on that VPN account. That's all it took. These are not edge cases. They're what happens to organizations without defenses. The good news is, the defenses exist. They're not exotic. They're not expensive. Let's look at what actually works. Now let's talk about what actually works to protect your company and your network. Backups are the most powerful defense. Daily on-site, weekly off-site, isolated from your network. And test the restore. A backup never tested is a backup you can't trust. Clean backups prevent you from having to negotiate with ransomware actors. Patch everything automatically. When a CVE drops, exploit code follows within days. I've observed this looking at the dark web. And if you use RDP, keep it patched behind a VPN with an MFA. MFA stops stolen credentials from becoming a breach. Usernames and password alone isn't enough anymore. I'm doing a dedicated video on MFA, how it works, how to roll it out in your organization. Stay tuned. The FBI and CISA have decryption keys for many variants and intelligence about ransomware that you don't have. Paying first can close those doors. I've seen both outcomes. Call first. Now let's talk about the business impact. These numbers should be on every executive's radar. $5 million. That's the average total cost of a ransomware attack, according to IBM's 2025 report. That includes incident response, legal, regulatory, and operational disruption. For smaller organizations, this can be an existential number. 24 days, the average downtime following a ransomware attack. 3.5 weeks where your systems are down, your customers can't be served, and your team is in crisis mode. 59% of organizations reported being hit by ransomware in the past year, according to Sophos. That's more than half. And 4%, that's the percentage of organizations that paid the ransom and recovered all their data. 4%. The other 96 either paid and still didn't get their data back or did not pay. That's why backups matter. And that's why law enforcement matters. And that's why paying should always be the last resort after exhausting every other option. Ransomware isn't a technology problem you can solve with a single tool. It's an operational risk that requires preparation, training, and relationships built before an attack happens, not during one. The organizations that survive ransomware attacks are the ones that had tested backups, patched systems, MFA in place, and a call already made to their FBI field office. The ones that don't prepare are the ones paying millions and still not getting their data back. IronGrid Cybersecurity delivers corporate cybersecurity awareness training grounded in real FBI experience. If your organization needs to build that foundation, the link is in the description below. If this information was useful, hit subscribe. I'll be covering more topics just like this one, including business email compromise, insider threats, and what companies need to know about AI-assisted attacks. And if your company needs a cybersecurity awareness program, reach out to IronGrid Cybersecurity. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve Sciavolino, retired FBI special agent and founder of IronGrid Cybersecurity. I'm here to help you build your Iron Grid. Awareness is the armor. Build your Iron Grid.